Hey, I'm gonna first off start by acknowledging the background. Check it out. We're down by a creek. Maybe I'll spin the camera around, show you what it looks like. But yeah, I'd also like to acknowledge that there's three types of people in this world. There's you, there's me, and there's everybody else. So what I was gonna emphasize today in my video was perceptions. I had a friend who has a pretty good video on it. It's a real quick 5-minute video, and I watched it, and it was intriguing. You'll have to excuse me if I keep swatting myself. So down by this creek, I guess I should show it to you now, right? And so there you go. Looks like that. It's all overgrown. Everything down here on the ground, damn it, there's mosquitoes everywhere. But everything down here on the ground is poison oak and blackberry bushes. So anyway, as you can see, I don't have my headpiece and I don't have a microphone still. And I'm not using my standard Apple ones. So I'm gonna try to project my voice a little bit. That way there's no issue with volume. I would say if I get too low, remind me, but this is a one-way thing. It's kind of like the way I like it. I think it fits my control mentality. I'd be happy to admit that I have an issue with control. It's probably one of the reasons why I don't drink alcohol. As I've said to numerous people, that I don't drink alcohol because I don't like the way that I lose control of my body and my motor mechanics and that sort of thing. So, but perception. So the perception that people have of other people, where do those come from? Well, there's a perception of age, right? So you can look at somebody younger than you, or you can look at somebody older than you and have a certain perception of who they are. Perception of, and that perception of age comes from your life experiences. So it's based upon things that happened to you back when, maybe even yesterday. Maybe you had an experience with a teenager yesterday, and now you have a certain perception of teenagers from that point on. Or, there's certain perceptions of people with clothing. So, for example, let's just make the most recent point, which is I now have no shirt. So you have a certain perception of me now based on the fact that I have no shirt. Maybe there's a perception of the fact that I'm wearing no shirt. Okay, there's one thing, regardless of what I look like, but just the fact that I'm wearing no shirt says a certain thing about me, right? It says I don't know what it says. So it depends on you and your life experiences, depends on your age, depends on your background, depends on who your family is, depends on where you went to school, and that sort of thing. A lot of times my perception when I see somebody without a shirt, and I guess this is a hit to myself, is this person's trying to get attention. So that's a perception. So maybe I perceive myself as that right now as I look at myself in the screen. And I wouldn't be able to stand up without somewhat sucking my stomach in, you know what I mean? So like if I went totally relaxed, there's that. And so that you have a certain perception of me based on how relaxed my stomach is. That's why some people who take their shirt off in public, they always flex, right? So if I always suck my stomach in and flex, now your perception of me changes. Maybe not. I don't know, but there's good example. That's a good example of something that I can point to right now. At any rate, yeah. So if you kind of relate to what's going on in the world, there's certain perception of maybe, let's say, police brutality. Let's say police overstepping their bounds, or maybe there's a perception of people not following the law. Right, so which is most common from where I came from and where I grew up. Where I grew up, everybody followed the law. There was nobody questioning it. There was nobody. If a police officer told you to do something, you did it, and that was it. So So, but maybe there's a perception that, I know, especially where I come from, that people are like, well, just pay your fines, or if you come from the inner city, say you were raised by a different family and a different structure in your society, and in order for you to make money, the easiest, I'm going to say no, not in order for you, but the easiest way for you to make money is to just, grab an illegal substance and sell it to somebody. And whether it should be legal or not is debatable, right? But that's not the case. The case is that the easiest way for you to make money is to sell it illegally, and so yeah, getting caught and breaking a law and that sort of thing. The perception of that is that if you're in that environment, you need to do that to survive. That's the easiest way to survive. Very difficult for somebody with the perception of the inner city to break that perception and come out to a more, I hate this word because I have a hard time saying it, a more rural environment, and pick up how to be a farmer. They just don't have that perception, although they can learn it. They can change their life. That's the beauty of our existence, is that any day that you wake up alive again, you can literally change the sails. You can't change the wind on the water, right? But you can change the sail, and so you can change the way your boat is oriented. One of the ways that I got my my dear sister to consider quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago, so happy she did, was a saying that somebody passed down to me, and maybe you guys know where it came from, and maybe you don't, I don't know, but I repeat it over and over again, which is, we're on the Titanic, figuratively speaking, and we can see the rock, we can see the glacier coming up, and we know we're going to hit the rock, but we have time to make correction right now. And so the question is, do we steer away from the rock and get into safety, or do we continue in the direction that we're heading and end up right where we're going, right? That's that. And so if you give a smoker that perception of, hey, you can see cancer ahead, and right now is a good time to change your course to no cancer. I think a lot of people, a lot of rational people out there would make that decision. But then there's the perception out there that you should be able to live your life without worry and without cause for anything. So without regard for even cancer itself. We're here on our life experience to experience different parts of our existence. Each one of us is a pair of eyes, a pair of virtual reality goggles, if you will, for whatever we're all connected to, whatever that consciousness is. We are all a pair of VR goggles for that. And so the life that I live, for example, right now in this very moment, I'm sitting right next to a creek, right next to a baby blackberry bush, and it's actually leaning against some poison oak right here. There's some poison oak right here. The life experience that I'm living right now is different than the one that you're living right now, and that's okay, because we're all meant to be on different singular pathways that all kind of coagulate into this collective experience of the universe. So each and every one of us is going to have a different perception. We're going to perceive reality differently. We're going to perceive our lives differently. So if I laid out a timeline and I was really honest about my timeline and showed you exactly the just things that have happened in my life and the decisions that I've made, things that I'm proud of, things that I'm not proud of, I would perceive that timeline differently than you would. A lot of people might look at my timeline and be like, well, Wesley, you should actually be proud of that moment in your life because of X, Y, and Z. But I may look back on that particular moment of my life and be like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not too proud of that moment, right? So I hope right now I'm projecting loud enough for the mic to pick up. Anyway, perceptions. So the perception of our political system right now is that it's unreliable. at least from my perception, I don't think it's reliable. We were just given proof that, number one, the election was rigged, and number two, if you're high enough in government and politics, and the crime is, I guess some people, depending on your perception, would argue that it's not shady. I was saying, well, the crime is somewhat gray. It's in a gray area, we're just emails. The same way I feel about fucking parking tickets and that sort of thing. But I guess this deals with national security. So yeah, there's a different perception of this. So and I will allow that perception in my reality. I guess that what I'm trying to say is that we've been duped. Our perception is that political system is not to be trusted, but that we should continue to vote. Even my perception right now, I will tell you, vote Gary Johnson right now, or I'll tell you, vote Jill Stein. But why are we going to vote if we know the system is corrupt? Right? What's the purpose of that? What is the purpose of that? I don't know, but I'm just saying, my perception is that everything is largely unreliable from the political standpoint, our voting system, the way we represent ourselves, and this is a perfect way to represent ourselves right here, right now. We have the capabilities, we have the technology, we have the videos. You've got a smartphone in your hand, same as I do. I can see your opinion and you can see mine, and you can come and be a part of my life here on this creek, just the same as I can come and be a part of your life in your hotel, or in your mom's house, or wherever you decide to make a recording. But we don't need this representative form anymore, right? Anyway, that's my perception. But so let's entertain other perceptions. So there's a perception of a murder rate in America tied to gun violence, whether that be black on black death, or cops shooting unarmed people. There's a perception of gun violence. There's a perception of murders. Oh yeah, and also the perception of mass shootings. There's that perception too. But what we're not taking into account is total deaths in America. So you can focus on murders all you want, but when you open it up and take a look at deaths as a whole, murders are not that big. And if you think about it, I think it's heart disease. I think heart disease is the number one killer. I'm not exactly sure. I wish I had a fact checker. I don't. But heart disease, I know it's in like the top 3, and cancer, automobile deaths. This is an important one to me because I'm on the road all the time. Death by automobile, a death on our roadways, is a huge thing. And nobody's, the thing is, cars are utility. They can be used for everybody getting to work and supporting the economy and whatever, you name it. There's a use for them. Whereas like guns, on the other hand, guns are just meant to kill things, right? Okay, I'm sorry for you gun enthusiasts. I like to target practice. I like to skeet shoot, that sort of stuff. Okay, cool. But the perception is that guns, especially the quote-unquote semi-automatic assault style weapons, they are meant as mainly just to kill people. But and cars are meant as transportation. But cars kill just as many people, if not more people, than guns do. So what's your perception on that? How about cancer? How about heart disease? What's your perception on those? I'm sorry, how about alcohol? Where's that in the perception of the death rate in America? Tobacco, holy shit. How are we sitting here talking about guns and cops and gang violence when nobody's talking about fucking tobacco violence? Nobody's talking about alcohol violence. And that's an important one to me because a good majority of my friends are either addicted to alcohol or addicted to tobacco products. It's one or the other, or both. So, anyway, perceptions. That's just something to contemplate. Anyway, yeah, it's a 15-minute video. I'll be back again someday. We'll talk soon. Fuck Hillary, fuck Trump.